Hello everyone, so this video is an introduction to Arduino. So whether you're a new student or a hobbyist, someone who is newly interested in Arduino, you've heard the word Arduino in so many places. You've seen people do things with Arduino, but you don't really know what it means. So in this video, we're going to talk about the basic things you need to know about Arduino as a beginner. So just so you know, I myself, I am not a professional. I am a student. So I have to tell you that you won't get all the information you need from this video. For more details, you can watch other videos. You can't know all you need to know about Arduino by just watching videos. You still have to start working with Arduinos. You have to use Arduino. You have to practice it in order for you to learn it. But I am sure that you will find this video useful, as we will talk about the basic essential things about Arduino before you engage in it. So you should watch this video and maybe several other videos before you start using an Arduino. So in this video, we'll start off with what is Arduino, which is basically the whole thing about the video. What is Arduino board? What is Arduino used for? The history of Arduino. What is the Arduino IDE? And what is the Arduino programming language, which is one of the first things people ask about Arduino, because it's basically it's engineering, it's electronics, it's computer stuff and all that. And we'll talk about types of Arduino boards and sensors and actuators and how they work, how sensors and actuators help the Arduino board interact with its environment, and also look at some Arduino projects, not mine, other people's projects though. So first of all, what is an Arduino board? Arduino itself, the word Arduino is an Italian open source hardware and software company project and user community that designs and manufactures single board microcontrollers and microcontroller kits for building digital devices. The Arduino board designs use a variety of microprocessors and controllers. The boards are equipped with sets of digital and analog input-output pins that can be interfaced to various expansion boards, or as some people call them, shields or breadboards for prototyping and other circuits. And what is Arduino used for? You can't actually start using an Arduino board if you don't know what it's used for. That's like knowing what an Arduino is. Knowing what it is used for is very important. So Arduino is an open source electronics platform based on easy to use hardware and software. The Arduino boards are able to read inputs like light on a sensor, a finger on a button, a potentiometer turning, or an incoming message from a cell phone or any device, and it will turn these inputs into an output, which can be activating a motor, turning on an LED, controlling the brightness of an LED as well, or publishing something online. All these things are things that can be done. These are outputs, common outputs that can be obtained from an Arduino board. Common examples of projects or devices intended for beginner hobbyists include simple robots, thermostats, and motion detectors, etc. There are several things you can build with an Arduino. And now we should also talk about the history of Arduino. Not really necessary, but it's also important. If you're a beginner, you should at least know a lot of things about Arduino before you start engaging this, and the history of Arduino will help you understand it as well. The Arduino project began in 2005 as a tool for students in the Interaction Design Institute, Ivrea, Italy, aiming to provide a low-cost and easy way for novices and even professionals to create devices that interact with the environment using sensors and actuators. Now, the name Arduino comes from a cafe in Ivrea, Italy, where some of the project's founders used to meet. The bar was named after Arduino of Ivrea, who was the Margrave of the March of Ivory and King of Italy from 1002 to 1014. And this picture, this photo will serve as a cheat sheet for you. Using this photo, you can understand the history of Arduino from the beginning to the present now. And we move on to the Arduino IDE. This picture you see here is actually what you see when you launch the Arduino IDE, the Arduino software on your desktop. Now we'll talk about what an IDE means before we move on to the Arduino IDE itself. So an IDE, also as known as Integrated Development Environment, is a software application that helps programmers develop software code efficiently. It increases developer productivity by combining capabilities such as software editing, building, testing, and packaging in easy-to-use application. So in a nutshell, an IDE is where you write code, software code that can be used by the computer. So the Arduino IDE, Integrated Development Environment, is used to write the computer code and upload this code to the physical Arduino board itself. And here is an example. This is what you see in the Arduino IDE. This is a blank sketch example. This is a code written on the Arduino IDE, a blank sketch code that will make an LED connected to an Arduino to blink. And if you look down here in the void loop, you see the LED will stay on for a second and then stay off for a second, and it will repeat until you stop it. The Arduino use milliseconds, so you see there's 1000 there instead of just 1 second. 1000 signifies 1 second, 2000 signifies 2 seconds, 3000, and so on. And also we'll move on to another very important question concerning the Arduino. People usually ask this. It's part of the first questions that pop into people's head. What kind of programming language does Arduino use? Arduino uses a variant of the C++ language, and the code is written in C++, an addition of special methods and functions. So it's the C++, but then some things are it's a bit different from the C++ in order for it to fit the Arduino standard, for it to fit the Arduino style. There are some special methods and functions that are added to it to make it the Arduino IDE. And now we know what the Arduino IDE is and a little about how it works. And we need to know about the Arduino boards themselves, because you after you write your code, you have to upload them to the Arduino board, and the Arduino board will do the actual work itself. So there are various types of Arduino boards present in the market that includes the Arduino Uno, Nano, Lilypad, the Due, the Mega, the Leonardo, and etc. There are different kind of Arduino. There are a lot of Arduino boards out in the world right now that you can buy and you can use, and they all work with the same IDE. The same code will work in all of them in the same way. They're all Arduino boards. They're just only that the bigger they are, the better they are and faster, and more pins they have. Like the Arduino Uno is the most popular Arduino board. The Uno R2 is the most popular, but it's definitely not the best. People just use it a lot because it's cheap and it's easy to use. You can just easily connect it to your PC and then upload code and everything. And the Arduino Mega has more pins than the Arduino Uno, so it's better than the Arduino Uno. And now let's talk about sensors and actuators, because the Arduino can't actually do anything if you can't give in information, and if you can't see how it will output, it will give out information as an output. The sensors, the Arduino interacts with its environment through the help of sensors and actuators. And now let's talk about what is a sensor, and we'll talk about what an actuator is. A sensor is a device that detects and responds to some kind of input from the physical environment. Sensors provide crucial data for control systems to monitor and regulate various parameters. Some type of sensors include temperature sensors, pressure sensors, level sensors or height, and flow sensors and proximity sensors. All these sensors are used to detect inputs from the physical environment and sent to the Arduino for processing. What is an actuator? An actuator is a device that converts energy into physical motion. It is the opposite of sensor. So it does this by taking an electrical signal and combining it with an energy source. The vast majority of actuators produce linear or rotary motion. Linear actuators are defined by force and rotary actuators are defined by torque. Some actuators are DC motor, servo motors, stepper motors, electric linear actuators. All these do different things. Some of them work alike, but they are distinct. Now, this is like a flow chart of how sensors and actuators are working in accordance with the Arduino board. Now, the sensor receives an input and then sends it to the Arduino, which is the processor, which will process it and then sends the output to the actuator, which produces physical motion as a response, which we see like a motor or a servo moving or spinning. And now, so we're almost done with the video, so let's talk about some Arduino projects that we see. These are not my projects, to found them online. So there are several projects you can work on. There are several things you can do with the Arduino board. There are several projects that are online. YouTube, you can get a lot of projects. You can even start your own, even after you've learned about the Arduino, you've known how to use the Arduino board. You can build different kind of projects like robots, temperature sensors, proximity sensors, a lot of things you can build with Arduino. There are different kind of projects that are online now. You can just go and then watch the video and you learn about them and you build these things, and they're just amazing. There's just a lot you can do with an Arduino. There's a lot you can do with an Arduino. There's a lot to learn about Arduino. There's a lot more you won't learn about Arduino until you start using it. So just go ahead and then get your kits. They come like this in kits. You can buy the Arduino Uno kits or the Mega kits. They have their different prices. You can just get them anywhere in any store and then begin your journey. Just go ahead and then start building things, and that's all. Just go start building things, start using the Arduino, and you learn about it while you're using it. That's the best way to learn about something, by actually using it. So thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you very much.